Hi guys, welcome to the tutorial today. As I'm going to be showing you how to use the RMI, the radio magnetic indicator, and along with the HSI, our horizontal situation indicator, we'll be able to know exactly where a VOR is by using this instrument, and then we can track inbound to intercept for a VOR. So currently I've set the aircraft up so you guys can see. We are currently tracking towards we want to go for the Golf Delta Victor VOR, and we're currently going in the opposite direction. So if I get up the charts so you guys can see here with me. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a left-hand turn, and we're going to basically go left 90 degrees, and we want to track inbound, as it says on the charts, onto the 257. So first we want to find out where the VOR is. So let's just say that we can see it. So we are going to be tracking the inbound onto the 257. So we've got the 257 course, which is in. And if we check on the RMI indicator, we can see with the needle that the VOR is just behind us west for around 270. So now we know whereabouts the VOR is, and we've got our course which has changed over here on for the HSI, as you can see it move. So we know that in order for us, if we're going to make a left-hand turn, we're going to make a left-hand turn to 90 degrees, which is going to give us to around 030, and then we should come in parallel, and we'll start to see the needle then move up towards us. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a left-hand turn onto the 030, or just around onto 020. It doesn't matter, just 90 degrees off. So we'll go on to the 348, and if you see on the horizontal situation, we are basically going to end up around here. And as you can see, the RMI indicator is now starting to move up, which is basically us moving in the direction of where the VOR is. So now the VOR is going to basically start to be moving across from us, and as you can see here, it is aligning up. So in order for us to be able to intercept onto the 257, the VOR is sitting around west at 270, and we are coming in for around just over 340. So we're going to end up just around here, and then what we can do is, as you can see, we are now lined up. We can see that the RMI needle is basically now pointing over to the west, to the left of us. So we can see it is over to the left. So if it was looking outside, the VOR is over here to the left, as the needle is saying that is the direction of where we are. So as the needle now starts to slowly move down as we're moving past it, we can now move on to the 280. So we go to 287. Now the only time you're going to move the heading around a bit more to the left is when you start to see the needle start to move away from you. So if the needle was sitting here and we was going in a straight line and it started to move down, then we know that we are getting ready to go past it, so we can turn more in, ready for the intercept. So we've currently now turned onto the 287, and we can now see the needle is moving towards us. So where we're going to hold now at our 24 or our 287, the needle will slowly start to move to the left away from us, and as it does that, that means that we are going to be getting ready now to intercept. As we always make sure before you go into a left or right hand turn, I'm going to do both sides, the left and right, always make sure that you are not on the actual track. You're around, say, 20-30 degrees to the right or left of where you're going to intercept, otherwise the needle isn't going to intercept. So as we can see, the needle is at west, so that's telling us that the VOR is practically just here. So if we were to follow a line, the VOR is practically just over here, and we are basically just waiting to go past it. Now we can see that we're 39 nautical miles, so the VOR needle isn't going to intercept very quick, but we are going to slowly start to see this needle on the RMI slowly start to move down from the left as we come in. And as it slowly starts to do that, as you can see, it's slowly just moving away. That means that we are going to be getting ready to move on to that left-hand turn, which will take us on to the 257. Now, once you've got the aircraft into this stage, you can now activate the VOR lock. Now, activating the VOR lock is not going to activate it to go and follow straight away. It's going to stay in heading mode. It's just pre-armed. So when the needle does start to move and we intercept, then the aircraft will move. So as you can see, the needle is slowly moving as we are coming into intercept for the Golf Delta Victor VOR. And as the needle slowly starts to move down, that is an indication that we are now getting ready to go past it. And once it gets round to this dial, we can see for 2.4 the needle's just there, and we are sitting just below 2.3. So the needle's now starting to move. We're going to start to see this needle now get more sensitive and start to move over to the left. And because the VOR lock is in now, that means that the aircraft is going to track the intercept onto the 257. So the needle's now slowly moving down, and the aircraft's now going to move in. I'll show you it on another scale. We'll do it from the opposite side as well. And then, as you can see, the aircraft is now moving over onto the track for the 257. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you it again from the opposite side, and I'll show you how to intercept if you was going to go into a right hand turn to intercept onto a VOR. Okay guys, so what we're going to do next now is we are going to make a right hand turn to intercept onto the 257 again, but this time we're making a right hand turn to intercept into the Golf Delta Victor VOR. So if we look on the RMI indicator, which is going to tell us the direction of the VOR, we can see from our position relative to the VOR is currently sitting at just in over west side of around 240. Okay, so the VOR is basically over here. Now what's going to start to happen is the VOR is going to start to move down, so the needle is going to start to move down. Once that needle starts to move down, that's telling us that again we are starting to move away from it, but we're not on our intercept heading, which is going to be the 257. So in this case, as the needle starts to now slowly move down, that means even though we're diagonal, we can start to maneuver the aircraft to then intercept onto the 257. So the VOR needle is at 240, and we can see that the VOR needle is just over to our back right, and as it says on the needle, 24, and we're coming in for the 257, and we're going to make a right hand turn. So as the needle will slowly start to move down, as we can see, it's just slowly creeping down as we're starting to leave and sort of face away from the VOR. It's going to start moving away all the way down until it's literally pointing away from us. So at this point in time, what we can do is we can move over to around 210, as we know the VOR is at 240, so we don't want to go over that. And we can see the needle is going to be over to the left hand side once we get there. So we'll move over to 240 now. Okay, which is checked. Again, we've got the VOR lock, which is in, so it will intercept when we do. And now what's going to happen is we are making our right hand turn, and we are going to end up just short onto 210. As we can see, the VOR needle is here, so if we was looking out the window, the VOR is basically over to our right, and as we are coming around the bend, we're basically moving in front now of the VOR. As we can see on the RMI, the needle is now moving up as we're moving towards it, and we can see 240, and the needle is just past 240, so we are going to 210 as we said, okay, which is in. And the only reason we're going to 210 is, as we can see, the needle is moving up, and we want to make sure that we've got adequate distance, around 30 degrees just over. And as we can see now, the VOR lock is in, ready to intercept, and as we move over, continuing that right hand turn, the VOR needle is now going to move into the direction that we are. So the aircraft's now going to basically stay in its current heading position, and in a moment's time we are going to see this needle will start to move down depending where the needle will move, and 240 we're going to 257. So as the needle's now moving right, we're going to start to see the aircraft pitch over to the right to intercept now, and we are then tracking inbound again to the 257. And what I'm also going to do, guys, is in a moment I'm going to turn this off. We'll reposition the aircraft randomly, and I'll show you how I will track inbound to the VOR. So I've showed you the left and right, and in a few moments, as we can see now, the aircraft is going inbound to the 257, and again we are tracking now inbound to the VOR. So I hope it does make sense. Pretty much this instrument is showing you the direction of the VOR, and as it's moving around closer to you and you're heading, or moving away from you, you know whether you're getting towards it or further. And then you'll know whether to turn the aircraft a little bit more to then get onto your intercept, which will be 30 degrees off. So there's us now coming inbound to the Golf Delta Victor VOR, and we can see that we are on heading where we're going to be going to the 257. So the 257's there, and the aircraft's now lining itself up onto that right hand turn to now intercept, and there we are going in onto the 257. So with the RMI indicator and the DME, is very handy to have this piece of equipment, because without it you wouldn't know your positioning really to where the VOR is if you wasn't using the Seaver. So to know the direction, you'll know whether you need to go 30 degrees off course, ready to straight intercept and just wait there. So if we was waiting to intercept and we was 30 degrees to the left and we was going to come onto the 257, if we was coming from this direction and the VOR needle was down here, as the needle starts to move away, then we would start to move the aircraft round to its final 30 degrees position, as then the needle would then start to move up towards us, as you've seen. So if it sounds a bit complicated, I do apologise, guys, but if you watch the video closely, you'll understand what I mean. This is just telling us the direction of the VOR, and we're just using that then to line up ready to intercept onto our final intercept heading. So what I'm going to do now, so you guys can actually see what's going on, I'm going to randomly put the aircraft over here. I'm going to put it facing away from us now. I'm just going to set its heading where we relatively are. So we'll just say the 121 we're currently on, and we'll put it into heading mode. And now I'll track the VOR back down for the 257. Okay, so let's wait for the aircraft just to level off for its heading. So we'll just put it to 135. Aircraft should level off now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off, and once we are lined up, we'll get the tablet back and then we can have a look. So we can see here now that the VOR needle is going to be over just to our back right, which is on just like we said the 270. So we're going the opposite direction pretty much. So what we firstly want to do is we can see that, let's say 270, the VOR heading is right now as it's moving away from us, and we want to be 30 degrees as we are going to basically make a right hand turn. The VOR needle will move over to the right. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the 300, and then that is basically going to track us inbound to come in for the runway. So what we'll do is we'll go to 300, and now as we move to 300, we're going to start to see the VOR needle move, and we can see that where the VOR is, it's just around 270, so we want to be around 30 degrees of that, which is just around to 30, so we go to 310, and we can see that we are going to head up now just short, ready to intercept onto the VOR. When you see this little arrow, that is telling you the direction of the VOR relative to your position, so we are going to want it to be going that way, and we are going to be going around onto the 310, which is going to be around 30-40 degrees away from where the VOR is. And once we move, we can see the needle now is moving up towards us as we are turning. So just imagine your position is here, the VOR is now moving towards you as you're going into that right hand turn. So as it is, and we can see that it is looking around about just short between 300 and 27, so it's around 285 now. So what we can do is we'll go to 315, which will be enough for us. And then when we get to 315, we're going to end up just short on the right hand side of the VOR. And then as the needle then starts to move around over to the left, I'll show you about VOR locks so you can see exactly what's going to happen with the RMI needle. We're going to end up just over onto here, which is going to be the 310. Now don't worry, as it looks far away from where we're going to intercept, it looks nearly 90 degrees, but in reality the VOR is only sitting at around 285, so we're only really 30 degrees. The VOR's here pretty much, so it's not too much of a gap away. Now what's going to happen is, as the aircraft now slowly starts to level off to 310 on our heading, we're going to start to see this needle now move downwards, which is indicating now that the VOR is on the left hand side and it's going to be starting to move to the left towards us, ready to intercept. So if we watch this needle very carefully now, we're going to see as we come in, it's going to be slowly moving itself down. So as we see off of the little points, it's slowly just moving, and as we get closer and closer to the VOR, this needle is going to start moving down once we get into a parallel position with it, and then we can go on to the 270. So it's currently now just moving towards west, and it's going to move all the way down until we get to our 257. Once we get to 257, you'll see this needle now start to move. So once the needle goes just past west, we should then see the needle on the HSI then start to move over to the left. So it's slowly creeping over, as we are still 40 nautical miles. But once we have intercepted, then we will get the tablet up and we can see if we are inbound again to the VOR. So we'll be coming in to intercept the 257, and as you can see, the needle's slowly starting to move away, very slowly. And what's that indicating is that the VOR is moving over to the left of us, and that is the direction that we are wanting to go in. So it's slowly moving. As it moves around, we will then start to see the needle over on the VOR indicator display start to move over to the left, which then means we can start to intercept. So look at this, sort of like an ILS localizer system, the needle moving over to the left, indicating we need to make the left turn to intercept onto the radial. So the needle's slowly moving as we're coming in. As we can see now, there's the 257, and we can see the needle now is starting to move. So we're going to go to the 257 now. And at this moment in time, you can put the VOR lock in. And then once the aircraft's lined up, we'll then see that we are ready to go. So as the needle's now actually at 257 around, we can move on to heading, and we'll then be directly straight bang on. So we've got the VOR lock in now. I was just wanted to show you guys the needle moving. And now as the aircraft lines itself up, we'll then turn on the little icon here and we'll see where our position is, and we'll see if we are bang on to the 257 ready to come in. So the aircraft's going to make a right hand turn now. The needle's going to line itself up. Once the aircraft lines itself up, then we'll turn on the map and I'll show you guys exactly where we ended up. So we're just now leveling to the 257, which will be the track. And now the aircraft's starting to level itself on its roll mode. And if we turn it on, we can see that there we are, going directly down into Gran Canaria VOR, guys. So that is the tutorial for today, and it's a good job that we did look up, otherwise we would be going in the mountain. But that is the tutorial on how to use the RMI indicator. So if you did enjoy the tutorial, guys, and you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. If there's any questions you want to answer on the RMI indicator or the HSI display on tracking the VORs, then don't forget to leave me a comment down below, and this will be in the tutorial playlist for the Felis 747. So do check that out, guys, as I am releasing tutorials now for the 747, and I'll see you all again on the next tutorial for the channel. So I'll see you all guys very soon. I hope this video helps you a lot with your flying, and I'll see you on the next available tutorial for the Felis 747-200. So see you soon guys, take care, bye bye.